Peter had a wife, Sandra, who took pride in her cooking and saw it as her way to Peter's heart. In their home, it was an unwritten rule. A real man must eat the food prepared by his wife. Refusing it could stir up suspicions and troubles. For Peter, this was more than just tradition. It was a test of loyalty. Sandra believed that if her husband ever came home and didn't eat her food, it could only mean one thing: he was eating in another woman's house. That thought terrified Peter because he loved his wife and didn't want her to think he had a side chick because had none. So night after night, no matter how late he returned from work, sometimes as late as 11 p.m., he would sit at the dining table and force himself to eat. Even if he wasn't hungry, even if his body craved only rest, he ate. And not just light meals. It's often heavy plates of pounded yam plus soups rich in palm oil, or plenty rice and stew with fried meat, or big loaf of bread and very creamy tea. At first, Peter enjoyed this lifestyle, saying to his friends that his wife is the best wife in the world, without knowing that his eating habit was eating away his health. By the time Peter was in his mid-40s, he had grown noticeably overweight. He would pant after walking a few blocks. His friends became jealous of his weight, saying, "Peter, you're really enjoying O." He would smile, but deep down, he knew something wasn't right. At 47, Peter was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He was told his blood sugar was dangerously high, and the dietitian warned him to change his eating habits. "No more heavy late-night meals," the dietitian advised, "and you must learn to say no sometimes." But how could he? However, at home he told Sandra about the diagnosis and about the late-night meals he was asked to stop, but nothing changed. She continued to prepare the same meals because she knew nothing else to prepare, and she did not ask. And Peter, fearing the silence, suspicion, and argument that would follow if he refuses her meals, continued to eat. By 50, his health had worsened. Along with diabetes, he now had high blood pressure. He was constantly tired, his legs swelled, and sometimes he woke at night drenched in sweat and racing heart. His doctor and dietitian warned him again, but tradition, fear, and love kept him on the same path. He believed he was protecting his marriage, not knowing he was slowly destroying his life. One evening at age 52, Peter came home late as usual. Sandra had prepared a big bowl of fufu with egusi soup and assorted meat. He smiled tiredly, sat down, and ate. Hours later, in the middle of the night, Peter clutched his chest. He gasped for air, but none came. Before help could reach him, Peter suffered a massive heart attack. The next morning, the house was filled with wails. The man who had worked hard, who had loved his wife and family, was gone too soon. Doctors later explained it clearly. Peter's lifestyle of eating late, heavy, unhealthy meals had damaged his body beyond repair. The weight gain, the diabetes, the hypertension, all traced back to years of habits he could have avoided. But it was too late. Sandra wept bitterly. She never wanted this. She only wanted her husband to feel loved and cared for. But what she didn't realize was that her belief, combined with Peter's silence, had cost them everything. Peter's story teaches us 3 important things. 1. That love is not measured by the amount of food you eat at midnight. 2. That refusing a meal does not mean rejecting your spouse. And most importantly, that health must always come first. Sometimes protecting your family means saying no, even to the people you love, so you can live long enough to stay with them. Peter died at 52, but his story lives on as a warning. Never let societal beliefs or fear of misunderstanding push you into habits that destroy your health.